cuenta pa' gastar. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luces, cámara, la acción, después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile y bebe, ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo pa' ti. Lo que tengo pa' ti. Sé que te va a encantar como meto yo.
What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, the other way, man. There you go. Like always, Gametime Bryan. Welcome back. I am pretty psyched this week. I know Cowboy Nation isn't feeling the same way, the opposite way. There you go. I know Cowboy Nation is not feeling the exact same way. I was feeling this way after the Baltimore game. I had a little bit more positive spin on stuff. Of course, not knowing how you're feeling because, of course, I've seen some of your videos with your one eye open as we watch this game. But game time on this broadcast, let people know, how are you feeling going into this game?
Well, first of all, good evening. I'm still all hopped up. I just took 2 more Tylenol. I was telling Phil. But good evening, everybody. Hopefully the house gets full soon in here. I'm feeling uneasy, but we can break it down. It's just unfortunate that this team, this ownership has put the hands of the ship in a bunch of obviously there's only a couple actual captains on this team that I respect, Micah Parsons not being one of them. I think anytime we and I'm not trying to hate on the man, but he's limited as a player. He's a very athletic guy, but the more we see, the more he gets exposed. So just frustrated with the whole year, Phil, up until now. But at the end of the day, I had him at 1-2. Is it the same 1-2? What does that really matter, Phil? Right? The record says what you are.
Well, yeah, exactly. When you were predicting the weather, like the schedule, how did you feel about that 1-2? Were you feeling as down as you feel now with your actual 1-2?
No. I feel a lot worse now because we're not even in these games.
Yeah.
It's just again. I was listening to a good. Tony Casillas. I respect him a lot. He was a defensive tackle for us. Really liked the man. Very eloquent speaker. He was interviewed, and he said it's an easy fix, but it takes the players to buy in and to be unselfish and have the grit to stick their nose in there, okay? He sees what's going on, and he said it's very fixable. Really is.
Well,
so again,
when you think about it, I mean,
a lot.
When you really look at that defense, you got guys on the defensive line that haven't been playing together. You're having to trust as well. Whether you're talking about linebacker, you have one of those guys that came back from last year in a sense of Damone Clark, that's playing the linebacker position. Everybody else is new. You got the walking seatbelt, as Mouse likes to point out, that's going to be out this week. But has also been a guy in that rotation that has been new. Even Wanye Thomas getting into there in the defense. So everybody's just been playing in a new position, having to play with somebody next to them that is new from what they saw last year if they were playing. So I expect some time to have to go by. I mean, we talked about it. 4 to 6 weeks is usually the norm, when we talk about just teams being able to get on the same page. So the walking airbag, I like that. Uh-oh. Brian's gone again. Here we go. Let's try to see. Yeah, here we go. His system goes out. Let me try to see on my side to see if I can help him out. I will click out of Zoom Workplace. Here we go. Check. One, two. Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right, cool. I changed. Uh-oh. You're skipping around. It says my live is okay on my side, but it does not say it's okay on your side. So there you go. Now you're back on moving.
Yeah, something's going on. So after this broadcast, we're going to have to restart it. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also got a hurricane going on outside. So, I mean, that might be it. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. My system says everything's okay, but it could be lying. It doesn't want me to switch it out. Just like one of those football players that come out to the podium at the end. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about that little snag that you just saw right there on national broadcast. Everything is fine. Nice, Arturo. Nice. He says there is a hurricane in Dallas too, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I'm over here. So used to the older system, but one thing, I talked about it earlier when we were discussing the post-game show last week or a couple of days ago.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we felt after that game. Even with that little surge and push. I asked you this, but I kind of want to bring this back around because going into this game, that's where that momentum is. Dallas, of course, found some momentum in the fourth quarter. Do you like that they found that in the fourth quarter with a big bunch like that, or would it make you feel better somehow if that 25 points was spread out through the whole game?
Well, I'll answer this. Obviously, I would have rather have been a close game throughout. It takes a little, obviously, and I think we talked about this. Emotion plays a big part. Once you have momentum, really, everybody needs to just really be honest and say the difference between all these teams is not much as far as talent. Yeah, you'll have a Mahomes, you'll have a guy who can win you a game. Some teams will have more talent than others, but for the most part, if you lay off at all against anybody, you can easily just start giving up loads of points, and that's what happened. Baltimore mentally laid off, and that allowed us to get going. But in saying that, Phil, my opinion, you still get in a rhythm offensively regardless. They allowed Dallas to get in a rhythm, and they will carry that over into tonight. What that means, whether it's a win, I don't know, but I would think there'll be a little bit more in sync. Let's put it that way. McCarthy's done a horrible job with his first 15. They're actually averaging more points, Phil, after the first, or more yardage per play after the first 15 script, which is not normally what's supposed to be. McCarthy's doing a horrible job putting his quarterback in position to be successful. But real quick, the one thing that came out as a positive, unfortunately, Zeke Elliott has not been a very good player this year, stats-wise, but Hunter Lepke has.
Yeah, that has. Yeah, that is the truth. You kind of froze there right now, so I can't hear you. But you are correct. I mean, when Dallas needed a first down in that game, there you are. You're back. He was that guy that was catching it down the field. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what you heard and didn't hear.
Hunter, you stopped. No, you stopped about Hunter Lepke, and that's what's last I heard.
Yeah. Hunter Lepke and Rico Dowdle, they were very successful with both of them in the backfield at the same time. So we need to see more of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find what's successful and use it.
Is not a good football player right now. He's just not. He's just to me, Zeke is a goal line, short yardage guy for now.
Pick up the block and blitz and stuff like that.
That's all he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why you do need to bring Dalvin in here as much as, we have him in the background. We got to see what he has. I mean, we got to put him in there, see him behind the line. Just, you don't know what he's going to do. And I'm not saying that in the sense that, I'm giving up on Zeke. No. We know what we have there. It's something that we can save on later on in the week, in the year, maybe week 9 through 12. Maybe we need that particular part of it for him to grind. Again, this is a run. Grinders. Yeah, this is a running back by committee, and as much as it's a curse, it's also a blessing because you're going to have different guys. But I'm with Bryan. Bryan pointed this out, and I think this is really, really. I've been hearing this throughout the week, and I like this. Give somebody a series or two, man. Like, they just so switching out that nobody gets in a rhythm as a running back to kind of get going downhill. And this is how I felt in that first drive. By the time he felt that in that first drive, he's out in that second drive. So I definitely would like to see somebody in there a little bit more series, whether it's the game plan is boasted around them or the running game. You just been seeing that, there's no complimentary football to what Dak is, what he isn't doing, but compared to what he is doing,
Yes, exactly. It's they're not doing Dak any favors. It's a team game, people. This is what I always used to say. It's a team game, and I don't believe. Sorry, I never even put my light on. It's a team game, and you could see that they're not playing as a team. They're not. It's just there's like little factions, and that's never good. So if they lose tonight, that only gets worse. Right, Phil?
I agree. Oh,
That
yeah.
only gets worse.
The embarrassment gets worse. The talk
Well,
gets louder.
Yeah, like the little factions within the locker room, point fingers. Instead of being a team, you're much stronger as one unit.
I have a longer contract. I'm going to be here longer.
Exactly. Yep. Now, there is some excitement in us doing bad. Me and Phil were talking about that before we went live, but it's a little, I like CD. I'm not saying you would move on from him anyway. Dak Prescott, we'll see what he can do. To me, tonight's a Dak Prescott game.
Well, you got him for 2 years.
Right?
I'm not too worried about it. You got 2 more years after that. It's the worst case scenario if that's what the whole thing is. But I mean, I get excited just because there's a bigger lump sum of salary cap. Not to say Jerry's been notorious for spending that very well, but there's not very many people other than Micah, and there's certain ones that you obviously want to re-sign, but there's not a whole boatload of them either.
Yeah, exactly. But tonight's a Dak game, Phil. When all the chips are down, you need your $16 million quarterback to make the throws.
I agree.
You get some points early. This is a Dak game. For all the Dak, I don't want to be rude, nut huggers out there. All the Dak nut huggers. And I'm a fan of the star. I root for Dak. I do. But you have to do something for us. Hey, Oscar, how are you? You need to go out and win the game tonight, Dak. All right? That's what you need to do. Can you do it? The good thing is you own the New York Giants. You lost twice as a rookie. Outside of that, I think you're 12-2 against the Giants in your lifetime.
Yep.
So
What about Danny Dimes versus Dak? I mean, I don't think he's beaten him, has he?
He hasn't beaten him.
And I mean, in prime time, I think
1-12 in prime time.
Yeah,
Daniel
exactly.
Jones.
So I mean, if any time they're going to beat him, right now would be the Dallas of the lowest. Yeah.
Yeah. Dave Hellman came out and said, "You're going to learn a lot tonight about the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas should win this game." Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love Malik Neighbors. I love
he's
I
good.
like Devin Singletary. Yeah, I like a
Burns.
lot of the talent.
I like
Remember,
Burns.
I'm the one that liked them, Phil. Everybody kind of laughed at me.
Yeah,
Now
I
all
did.
of a sudden they have the most pressures in the league on defense. So good luck tonight.
That's a hell of a defensive line they have. I mean, let's be real. Dexter is he's one of those guys to be envious of. And when they talked early in his career about moving on from him, I was like, man, that'd be a great pickup. I knew he wasn't going to move within the division, but then of course they signed him up, and I was like, that little disappointment there because when you got your guys within your own conference, those are the ones you see it the most, and I think it's just great competition for guys like Cooper Beebe.
Yeah, Cooper Beebe's going to have his hands full tonight because what they'll do is they will bring him at you, and then they will stunt. Hey, Mark Hutchinson. Thank
What's
you,
up,
brother.
Mark?
Good
How's
evening,
it going,
prime time
man?
and game time.
Insert cash or select payment type.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know how loud that was. On mine, it was pretty loud.
Hey, Jeff Lee. How are you? 0-8, 8 games versus Dan. Yeah, Bobby. We're gonna learn. Dallas fans are gonna learn a lot about their Cowboys.
Yeah,
I don't care about any of that.
If they
we should
lose
win
it,
the
it's
game.
not that the Giants are destroying us. It's by crap and where we're not scoring again and things like that is happening. So there's going to be a lot to get frustrated over if that's the case. If it's one of those kind of games, which we'll break it down a lot more as we talk more into positions and everything as well. Pause.
Right.
Do you want to talk about some of these other games, or how do you want to kind of go forward? Because this is a Thursday night thing, so.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever you want to do, man. You're
What's
the
up,
boss.
Jeff Lee?
I'm looking at the weather. It looks like 8
rain,
o'clock, 12% in New York, 13%. So mid-70s. It doesn't look like it's going to rain much. But I went last year to the game, Phil, and in the second half it unloaded. So maybe it'll be something like that. But yes, We could go through all the games if you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
And then we'll. All right. Obviously, we'll jump to the 1:00 game. The Falcons host the Saints. Let me pull up my. Yeah. Well, let me do that. Falcons host the Saints. Falcons are a 2.5-point favorite at home.
Falcons are favorite.
Yes,
is because of the oh man, that's how much the Eagles defense made people start questioning now the Saints. I still got to put it in their breadbasket, man. I think I'm with Bryan in the sense that I like it. I think I like what Atlanta has. You know, they have a good combination of stuff. I think something they'll see later on in the year where they'll be a little bit tougher. But as of right now, they're very lost. Still trying to find their way. So I got to go Saints on this as a rebound game.
Saints a 2-1 going into Atlanta. I hear that what's his name is banged up. The running back for Atlanta, but he probably will play. I'm gonna go with Atlanta. I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Look at that. He hates on the Falcons, but gonna pick them right now.
Yeah. I don't think Falcons are as good as everybody thinks, but hey. Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams heading into Soldier Field. The Rams at Chicago. The line right now is the Bears -3. Bears -3.
So Bears are favorite going into. I can't say I'm surprised just because of their defense, but I was extremely surprised that the Rams, even though the Rams do handle San Francisco quite a bit, but without their two starting wide receivers, I mean that is huge as a Ram. So I think that momentum, just the Bears' lack of momentum offensively, other than getting their first score touchdown last week offensively, I got to give it more towards the Rams right now. I like their momentum.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. 73% of the public is betting the Rams. That's straight up, mind you. This is a tough one. If there's going to be a game that Chicago's going to win with, I thought I'm going to go with Chicago Bears here with the letdown after winning against the 49ers, a very emotional comeback win.
I was going to say if they lose, that would be the reason why they put everything into the week before. Yep.
Bobby, what's up, brother?
Bobby, Tom Brady, commentator in the playoffs. It's a loss for Dallas. Yeah, he seems to be that lucky little rabbit's foot, huh?
Back. Fucking, where is he? Next, we're gonna jump to Minnesota Vikings visit Lambeau. Yes, the Vikings, the 3-0 Vikings are visiting Lambeau.
Man,
with the Green Bay Packers, who had a nice win last week. I thought they did well. Malik Willis is really doing good. 2.5. Green Bay is favored by 2.5 points. It was 4.5. It's down to 2.5 because the Vikings seem to be really good. So
yeah, I gotta give Sam Darnold credit in the sense of the past couple of games. I'm not gonna give him he's changed his ways and he is that guy. No. We're waiting until defense has figured out that offense and they're able to get a tough game going, and let's see how they grind those ones out. So I think this is
grinder.
I think this is a great one because obviously divisional rival. You're not going against Jordan Love, so you don't get that top competition. But I think that defense is still going to give it its all. I got to go Vikings on this one, but it's not by much, man.
Yeah, I'm going to take the other side and take the home team in Green Bay. Minnesota gets their first loss, a division loss, but again, I've been wrong a lot this year, so don't go by me. But if I'm picking, give me the Packers at home, maybe to get on a little bit of a roll. I know Jordan Love's practice. He's doing some things. I don't think he's necessarily going to be ready to go for this game. I'm not sure. Did anybody hear anything about Jordan Love? If you did, put it in the comments. But our next game will be the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the team we play next. Visits the Indianapolis Colts, the 1-2 Colts. Pittsburgh at the Colts, and just a quick line here. The line is the Colts plus 1.5 at home.
Wow, that's nothing. Pittsburgh, man, they got a good defense in the sense of a stout guy, T.J. Watts. It just makes you again taco the whole that whole scary thing when we could have had him as well. But I think the difference maker in this game is going to be Richardson. We all know what Justin Fields brings to the table, and yes, he's Justin Fields doing what Justin Fields does when Chicago, but now in Pittsburgh. So all the great luck, but I think the one that does it just a little bit better right now because he can pass as well, 70, 60-yard passes. I'm going to go Indianapolis Colts on this this pick.
Yeah, upset. This is a tough one because I think Steelers are the better team. I think they're riding high. I thought the Colts would, I don't know. I know they won last week, but I expected more from them. I think the Steelers go to 4-0. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, even up. They go into Indianapolis. I think knowing that Dallas has them next week, I just assume that I don't really think it matters, but I just assume they'd be 4-0. You know, that would be nice. But Steelers go in and get the dub. Moving along here, we got the Denver Broncos visit MetLife. Yes, MetLife will be changed over to have the Jets logos on the field, and Denver Broncos visits the Jets, and the line on that is Jets minus 7.5.
Wow. I can understand that. I think that's the Aaron Rodgers effect. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't the quarterback, how would you be putting these two teams? Oh man, really tough. Maybe the Jets because of the defense. Yeah, when I look at these two teams, I really gotta all indicators go towards the Jets just because offensively they can move it, defensively they can stop you. I think Denver is still trying to find their way around their young quarterback, and they're not a terrible team, so they can definitely pull off some victories. But I got to go Jets on this matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets as well. But, very, very impressed with young Bo Nix. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with the New York Football Jets, the Jets. So anyway, next matchup, the Eagles visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Surprisingly, the Buccaneers are the underdog here. +2, +1.5, depending on where you go. I don't know. Does my Eagle people, I see. What's up, Jet Li? Who's what receivers are playing? Why would that line be that way?
Yeah, well, to me, I would say the Eagles in the matchup have to be the favorite just because of the offensive weapons they've had and the defensive show that they kind of gave last week. It's enough to make these numbers kind of sway a little bit.
And Devontae are both out, so you were gonna have to go with.
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
even with
curious.
that, I'm still swaying towards the Eagles, just because. What Baker Mayfield shows up. Now, when it comes to going against the Eagles, he has been known to really bring it.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I can definitely see where they can get away like this, but I got to go Eagles. I just think they have a little bit more talent.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa here. I think Tampa had a bounce-back game. Sorry, Eagle fans. I mean, you got a game last week that your coach tried to lose, but your defense played great. Yeah, that's the problem. They got Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson, John Ross, which ultimately, Linda, I think that will help the Eagles getting them some playing time. And if they could somehow pull this off, if they can somehow pull this off, then that would be wonderful. But I'm going to go. You got to remember, Tampa just lost last week, and I think they're going to be a little salty. I think they win this game against the Birds.
Tampa, usually when they have their down time, it's usually a couple of games in a row that they do. Angelica, my weather is actually just really, really windy. Some rain and stuff like that, but really just windy and but otherwise it's not been as bad down here. Hopefully it's not terrible up there where you're at. I know you're further north than I am.
Next matchup here, we got the Cincinnati Bengals, the 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Carolina Panthers. Crazy that the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-3. That's the one thing I did, get right. I wasn't a big fan of the Bengals this year, just because how they treated their players and not signing people and all. Panthers are a 4.5-point underdog at home. Remember, the Red Rifle is now leading the team, not Bryce Young. So
I think that's the I mean, if any way that the Panthers are going to win, it's going to be off the shoulders of Andy Dalton. Just that revenge. He does play well against teams that he used to play for. So cheers to that. But I still got to go Cincinnati. I think this is where they find their way a little bit, just because again that Carolina defense isn't the greatest, and they're still trying to find a lot on that defensive line. And I think they got it together last week, maybe because of the emotional little pep up a little bit because of the different quarterback, but I think Cincinnati has enough weapons to definitely be a problem for the Panthers.
I agree. Give me the Bengals. They are even though I'm not a big fan of them this year.
Desperate.
I believe they are not an 0-3 team. So I'll give me Cincinnati to go in and get the W in Carolina. They need a win in the worst way. They always start off slow, but 0-3 is ridiculous, so give me the Bengals. Moving on to another 0-3 team, the Jacksonville Jaguars visit Houston. And Jags are 0-3, and Trevor Lawrence, they're talking about possibly benching him. Could you imagine?
For what?
$55 million quarterback, and
For what?
They might be benching him.
For what?
I don't know, but they're playing. He's not playing good.
No, he's not. He's definitely there. There were some overthrows there in that pass game where just things that were just, I don't know, very simple routes. I mean, they were open zones, and there was no reason for him to be throwing some of those, and they were really bad. I don't think it stops this week. Houston's a really tough defense. They kind of had a game last week that got away from them quicker than they thought. I think they get back on track this week, and I think Jacksonville, it just gets a little bit worse for them. I think they go to 0-4, and I got to go Houston the win.
I agree. We're going to go with the Houston Texans. I'm rooting for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, but the hell with East Side. So
who is the backup in Jacksonville?
Alone, go Jacksonville, but I'm not picking them. There's no way I could pick them. Houston lost, right? Didn't they just lose?
Yep.
And so I
pretty
expect them to get
badly,
back on the winning track. Yeah. Mixon's out. I don't think he's playing again this week. So this is a sneaky game. I think Jacksonville is desperate, but I can't pick Jacksonville. There's going to be, they have to prove it to me. But the next game, very interesting. This team seems to be the buzz of the NFL. Washington Commanders, the 2-1 Commanders, go into Arizona to play the Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals are a 3.5-point favorite at home.
Yeah, that's where I would give them the edge, but it's not by much, man. I think there's a lot more leadership on that side, just enough to get them through the game towards the end where it might be close. Washington has some momentum, and I got to put Washington exactly where I'm going to put New York a couple of years ago, where I say if they do well enough to become like a mid-pack type of team, that's going to be the worst thing for this team, because they're going to be out of position to get even better through the draft. So hey, all for them and their success. I don't think they're a deep playoff team, but I see Arizona just a little bit better. But again, if Washington wins, I'm not upset either.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are a better team, but Washington, like the way they finished up, I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see how Jaden Daniels starts off. He was on a roll. If he wins in Arizona, then watch out, people. They very well may go ahead and win this division if they can go on the road and beat Arizona, who I think is a tough place to play, as we saw last year. It's a little, it's 60-40 right now as far as people think Arizona is going to beat them, but it's not like as much as you would think.
Yeah.
Washington has a lot of buzz right now. So again, we knew that, right? We knew Dan Quinn was going to come in and infuse an excitement on that team with the players, especially with the owner exiled away from the team and new ownership is in place. Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to root and pick them to win.
Yeah, well, they have the running game to do it against Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Next game, this should be an easy one. This is probably the most lopsided game. But right now the 49ers are reeling. They're 1-2, but the Patriots go into Levi Stadium in San Francisco. The line for that game, not that it really matters, 10.5-point favorite. The 49ers are 10.5-point favorite. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, well, when you're saying it's very lopsided, I don't think it's as lopsided as, especially with how San Francisco lost last week to a team that didn't have stars. So, I think the Patriots kind of have that same thing where they don't have stars, but they do have some people that you can throw the ball to. They will catch it. They do have a running back they can kind of lean on if they're leading as well. So I think the Patriots definitely have a team that can beat them. Being said, I still got to put my money on San Francisco.
Yeah,
I just think the talent's just lopsided there on that sense.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sit back and enjoy or root for the Patriots, obviously, because I can't stand the 49ers. But I don't expect the Patriots to win, but it would be a great surprise.
Yeah.
I would be, hey, listen, I wonder how the 49ers are looking at the Patriots. I'd be curious to see.
Sure.
All right, we move on to the 425. Well, that was a 425. Oh, that was a 405. So the first 425 game, the Cleveland Browns, the 1-2 Browns visit the 1-2 Raiders in Las Vegas. Raiders are a 2-point favorite at home.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why they're the 2-point favorite is because they're at home. Does that really mean anything in Vegas? I mean, most of the time there's people from different parts of the U.S. that go to Vegas to enjoy themselves. So for me, is it a home field advantage? I don't know. So I'm going to go just because I'm going to look at the talent and say eventually they're going to get their shit together, but I'm going to say Cleveland in this matchup, and it's not by much. I could go the other way and pick the Raiders and be comfortable as well, but I'm going to go Browns on this one.
Yeah, and I'm going to go Raiders because Cleveland stinks. Okay, we're just going to leave it right.
And that's where I was saying eventually they should get their crap together, but
well, they got to win, so that's good. But Deshaun Watson stinks. I think the Raiders win at home. It's a toss up, but wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland won. But the Browns, tick me off. So let's go Raiders in that one. Next 425 game, the Kansas City Chiefs visit the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think this could be a good matchup.
Chiefs, man.
I think this could be a good matchup.
They've been the reward of a lot of good calls, a lot of home cooking with the Kansas City Chiefs refs. So what's your thought? Just real quick, the line is Chargers +7. I'm not sure that the quarterback is playing. I think he is, but it went from +3 to +7, so he may not.
Twiz doesn't know if he is. Yeah, so that may be the reason why. Otherwise, I would have to say this. If he is, it's going to be a very close game. Probably still got to go lean towards the Chiefs by field goal.
Yeah.
But if he isn't playing, I would say, definitely probably about 2 or so touchdowns, if not 3. I don't want to say that in the sense of betting, but definitely I would probably say 10 plus.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs on this one. The Chargers got out to a 2-0 start, and I think they start to come back to earth a little bit. That new car smell starts to dissipate with Harbaugh. I like him as a coach and all, but give me the Chiefs. They're just too solid. They find the ways to win. I don't think Chargers can do that. So give me the Chiefs. Chiefs are a juggernaut, people. That's what good coaching and good leadership will give you. So Chiefs on that one. Next one is the Sunday night game. This is arguably the best game of the week. And, wow. Okay, the Bills. 3-0 Bills visit Baltimore Ravens. We just saw the Ravens.
That's good.
A lot of people, 60% of the public are picking the Bills.
Yeah, that's the side that's the side I'm going with as well, too.
The Ravens are -2.5 at home.
That Ravens haven't shown me enough, and I think Mouse pointed it out earlier, but it is true. Dallas was able to prove it. Raiders were able to prove it that this team at the fourth quarter tends to kind of fall apart a little defensively. They did not mask anything. They didn't switch their defense to prevent. They just did Baltimore football and happened to lose those games in the fourth quarter and almost lost this past one in the fourth quarter as well. So when that's being said, when does Buffalo score the most points? If they are struggling, hell, the fourth quarter is definitely where they like to make their little comeback. quarterbacks as well. So everything just says Buffalo because I think they can take control of it from the beginning. But if not, I think they definitely have the team to come back and beat Baltimore. So I'm going to go Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going to go Buffalo as well. I think they moved to 4-0, and I think they have a good chance to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I definitely think the way it's looking, it's going to be Kansas City and Buffalo in the championship game. And something about Buffalo this year, I think they're actually going to get the job done. So
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills over the Ravens. The Ravens
What's up,
can
Andrew?
do one thing really well, but Buffalo Bills don't have a weak front, and they're not a choking organization like the Cowboys. So we'll go with the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
Sorry, that's how I feel.
Oh, shots fired.
Well, exactly, man. They sat there, and got rid of Diggs, and that was the best thing they could have done because Diggs is he's a motor mouth, and he's not a team guy. So, again, good on Buffalo. I'm rooting for Buffalo. First of the two Monday Night Football games, we got Tennessee Titans 0-3 visit the Miami Dolphins, who were 1-2. Tennessee at Miami. Miami is a 1-point favorite.
Again, it's because of Skyler guy hurt. Skyler, I don't even know if it's going to be their guy that they signed. They signed somebody off of it.
What the hell's going on around here?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, he may play, but either way, I think Miami has a lot of weapons. Like, hand the ball off to them. I don't know what you got to do.
Yeah.
That get them to hike the ball to them. I don't know as a Miami Dolphins fan what you got to do to yell from the stands to get your offense going, because this team is very, very talented, man. They just need to get that ball north and south and stop going east and west all the time. It's just crazy because McDaniel is kind of wasting his talents with a team that hasn't been able to kind of just stay healthy. With that, I think Tennessee gets this because I think Levis has actually been playing better football the past couple of weeks to complement that running game. Not been great, but he's definitely looking better each week. So I think Tennessee will pull off this victory.
Yes, and I will go with the home team, Miami Dolphins. Again, I think they need to get on I think they have more talent than Tennessee. I think they do run the ball. I think they do put up points. I think their defense steps up. Give me the Dolphins in South Beach. I like the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins. Take the Dolphins. And our last very, very, very good game, Seattle Seahawks. The 3-0 Seattle Seahawks travel to Detroit, the struggling Detroit Lions. I know they're 2-1, but when you honestly look at it, they're not playing great.
Yep.
Okay,
They're still winning.
They're not, but they're winning. Yep. But they're 2-1. Seattle's 3-0. What do you think about that? The line as we speak right now is -3.5 for Detroit.
Yeah, I got to go in that. Leaning towards Detroit as well. They're home. That stadium gets really loud, especially on a primetime game. I can see them being extremely loud, but I definitely see Seattle still staying in there. They are not strangers to playing in loud stadiums. So, don't. Sorry, I'm like, burping stuff up over here. When I look at the two, I do like this matchup for a Monday Night Football game. This is really what it's all about. This Tennessee versus Miami game. Nothing against it, but come on, NFL. What the hell are you guys thinking? At no point were you really thinking Tennessee was going to be this amazing, football team that you got to put them on primetime. So I do like this matchup, though, but I'm going to go Detroit, and I just think they're a better team in the long run.
Yes, I can see where you're going with this. I definitely take the Detroit Lions in this matchup. I think Detroit should be able to win against Seattle. I'm excited. I want to see Seattle do well to put pressure on the 49ers. I'm going to take Detroit at home. Let me just say this. If Detroit does not get the job done this week against the 3-0 Seattle team, I think there's going to be some chinks there in the armor. I just do. I think Detroit is not playing great right now, and they need to. They got way too much talent. Home game, Monday Night Football. Detroit should definitely win. So
nice.
There we have it. Oh,
there
wait,
we
got another game.
We got one more game, and that's going to be tonight's as we switch this over. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. Let's talk a little bit about the Giants. You know how you picked them going into the season. They lose Barkley, a big piece of their thing. I would be a little bit more worried about this team if they still had Barkley and they had Neighbors to complement that whole the run game. Not to take anything away from Singletary, right?
Yes,
but it's just they haven't been opening a lot of holes for him. This is the team to do it, though. If you're going to go against and run and be able to run, it's going to be against this team. And if you give Daniel Jones a running game, man, he can find success. I mean, he has torched some teams in the past. It hasn't been the Dallas Cowboys, but, you know, there can always be a first for everything. So tell me, what has impressed you about the New York Giants this season, and what's been on the negative side?
their defense is playing very well up front. They can be had, and I'll go over the inactives real quick. Inactives for the Giants, which is big for the Cowboys offense. Adoree Jackson, cornerback Drew Phillips, safety Anthony Johnson, linebacker Bentlin Whitley, not a big deal. Boogie Basham, Jake Kubis, and obviously DeVito is the emergency. But they lose Adoree Jackson and Drew Phillips. We lose Kalen Carson and Marquise Bell. Kellen Carson is the big one. Yeah. Matt Waletzko, Ryan Flourney, John Stevens. They cannot seem to. He's healthy, people, but rumor is they cannot activate him. Tyra Sweet, and obviously our third string, Trey Lance, is the emergency quarterback. But the Giants up front: Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. They got two very good linebackers. They're going to come after Dak Prescott, okay? I don't know, but that back end, you can take advantage of it. They need to hold on to the football. Turnovers are going to be a premium in this game. You can't settle for field goals all the time in this game. Daniel Jones, in my opinion, he's been running even more this year. The read option stuff kills Micah Parsons. He doesn't, he gets, it seems like he gets on pause when the quarterback has the football.
Little deer in headlights type of situation.
Deer in headlights, exactly. Yeah. So if I'm the Giants, I heard that they brought up a fullback. They're going to pound the ball right downhill on us. So we're going to know fairly early on in the game what is going to be the deal, and if there was any difference between this a game. They have Tyrone Tracy, they have Devin Singletary, they obviously have Malik Neighbors. What's his name is Wandale Robinson is a smokescreen guy. Phil, he's dangerous. So we'll see, man.
They got Hyatt.
Jalen Hyatt, yes.
He's always a speedster and can take the roof off. And we've seen a couple of times where they've thrown that deep one and the safeties have allowed that to happen. So that's always a possibility. I can't, I'm not going to take it away. That's the way that you surprise this defense, and this is the way you kind of shock the Cowboys into kind of stop playing. Their brand of football is to really go deep. Occasionally test them. You keep them honest. You open up that field and you're able to attack the middle. It's just they got to stay disciplined. We talked about it. You've heard that hero ball as well. If people can just stay in their lane, stay disciplined. I think Zimmer is really good at putting people in position. But again, when you're watching this film, you're seeing people collapse, not holding the edge.
What's up, Wild Boy Trey?
And so, whether it's veteran or rookies or second or third year guys or guys that have their own podcasts, they need to get on the same page. And that's something that's also on the opposite side when you talk about Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. How do you see them with this? Because again, we talked about how Dak has the history against New York, but also CeeDee Lamb has a history against New York. Could this be the game that those two get it together and CeeDee kind of goes off?
They have to. CeeDee normally responds well. I want to see CeeDee in motion more. He's been playing 73% of his snaps out wide, which is fine but this is where people always come down on him. That when the ball's not coming to him, he gets a little lazy with his route running. Let's put him in motion. Let's get the ball in his hands. But I like a lot. I like that 2 running back set. Jake Ferguson should have a big night. Again, we're gonna have to start running the ball, people. We have to. We cannot. The first 2 teams, Phil, the last 2 teams that played us, thrown the ball 15 and 16 times respectively. I repeat, 15 times the Saints threw the ball on us, and 16 times the Ravens. That's pathetic. That means they ran the ball down your throat. Yep. That's what that means. So we need to stop the run, people, and we need to find a way to run the ball, especially if it starts raining in the second half. So we need, like last year, it opened up, but we already had a big lead. Get a lead, put some pressure on Daniel Jones to have to make a play. And I want to see Dak Prescott, if he's rushed, not to hold on to the football, especially on the edges. Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns have some juice. If there's an opening, you need to go early in the game to make them pay a little bit for being so aggressive. Because they're going to pin their ears and go after Dak.
Yeah, they are.
He needs to do it. So,
yeah, they are. Yeah,
and never.
I do love Dak against the blitz, and I did talk about the fact that it didn't matter really who was in this game. I thought Dallas was going to be really good at coming back and answering a lot of the media talk, all that stuff. Just even Dak and them getting on the same page. Some of this defense, I think that's where my worries part is just that defensive line getting on the same page, not allowing huge gaps. The first 2 games they weren't terrible. I mean, that when the Saints all of a sudden he can get through the air and on the run by one guy, I think it just I don't know, it just deflates your whole team, and that's where you've kind of seen that negative attitude within the locker room and some of that stuff. So what I've liked a little bit too is some of this leadership has actually stayed away from the media, kind of done that whole thing. I said, we're done talking the talk. Let's just we have to walk the walk. We have to. The only way that we can prove anything and shut people up is not by anything that we're going to say, is by what we do on the field. And right now, primetime game on Thursday Night Football, this is the time to really be able to stay a statement, because tomorrow, what's the news going to really be about? You have ability to kind of dictate that right now. Obviously, there are going to be people that overreact. Even if we win and stuff, there's going to be people overreact. And guess what? Don't be overreacting. It's just the Giants. But if you lose, it's not just the Giants, is it? So there's a lot more negativity than the positive.
Let's get these scores up. Let's get these score predictions in the chat, everybody. We're about ready to wrap it up soon.
Yeah, we are.
Just because I want to be able to restart my internet before we go live. And
I want to refresh as well.
So let's get these score predictions in there. Let's get all the L's from the Eagle fans, and let's get them going.
So before you give your thing, I'm going to go ahead and give mine about this game. I do feel confident about this game. I feel confident because of Dak's history. I feel confident just because of this team's history of being able to bounce back after very disappointing games, and that's even with the bad game that they had. I didn't pick them last week to win just because there wasn't that downness in that locker room, that the desperateness that we need to really kind of like look ourselves in the mirror and really challenge ourselves. I think this is the game where if you get on a roll, you can stay on a roll. You can really put it down, put your foots on their neck. Again, is it going to prove anything? The rest of the NFL still has the ability to talk and say, hey, you do this against losing teams. So this is not going to prove a whole lot, but this is one of those things where you have to beat the teams in front of you, and I think this team can do it. I do like the matchup. I think they're just a way more talented offense than that defense. That defense is really good, though, for the Giants. I really do like what they're building over there. But I do like our offense. I think the only way that Dallas loses this game is themselves. The self-inflicted crap that we've seen this team do, drop passes, holding calls, just being able to put ourselves behind the numbers before we even get started on drives. But I do like the matchup in the end, even if we get bogged down in the middle, because I know the Giants can be a hell of a matchup sometimes. But I still see us winning by 2 touchdowns. I think in the end we get into the 30s, so I think 34-14, 17 or so. I'm going to say 34-17. Dallas wins.
That would be great. Last week I picked looking back, it wasn't that bad of a pick. I had Dallas 24-23 the last.
That was really close
week.
as well, too. So
that was close. Remember, I said a final drive.
But
so
I was a touchdown off.
But let's be honest, it was never really that close, right?
No. Oh, hell no. That was a good push at the end, but let's be real, it wasn't close.
We were trying onside kicks with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That tells you how close it wasn't. I'm not confident in this pick, people, but here's how I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it. Dallas is the better team. Okay, Dallas. All the nasty comments put aside, Dallas has a lot of talent on their team, even on the defense. People, yes, they do. Now Dallas is going to be. It's going to be interesting. Will Dallas bring out Jordan Lewis and play the outside and slide an Israel Mukwamu or the Warrior guy that they picked up from Detroit that they elevated? I'll be curious to see whether Jordan Lewis slides out to the outside, which is probably what I would do, and then use like a Mukwamu in the slot. That's what I would do. But I don't know what they're going to do because you got to remember, Marquise Bell is out. Yeah. I want to see some Wanye Thomas.
Me too.
Donovan Wilson has not played good the last 2 games. He's been part of the problem. He hasn't been filling in the run, as well as DeMarvion Overshown. He's young, basically a rookie, unbelievable talent, not recognizing and not filling the gap. That's where Mike is really talking because he's afraid to, that's what's been going on with Micah. He's on the edge, and the running back and the quarterback are coming at him with the option, and his job is to stay with the running back. But listening to Bryan Broad, they were saying, maybe just tell him to go after the quarterback for right now. Just go after the quarterback, get your hits on the quarterback, send a message, and then that may loosen that up a little bit. Jalen Tolbert gets another tutty tonight. I hope you're right, Wild Boy Trey.
I see that.
But the line goes anywhere from 5 to 5.5. And the over-under is 44.5. I'm going to say Dallas gets up. Dallas scores 2 touchdowns in this game and 3 field goals. Giants, I don't know whether Dallas is behind or whatever, but I think at the end of the game, Dallas wins the game. Maybe on a final drive, 20-20. I think Giants tie it up. Dallas gets the ball back. And Cowboys win 23-20. So give me the Giants plus the 5.5 and the under 44.5. Again, not real confident about that. I know talent-wise, Phil, we should definitely be able to get the job done, no doubt.
But I think, but Giants have the ability to kind of take it to us. Let's be real. So we know that. They do have some defensive. They do have some defensive guys that can wreck it.
Yes.
And if you get in your own way,
you
get in your own way, that's going to be the problem. The drop pass.
Exactly right. Yeah, like I have a weird thing where Dak's going to get pressure. I mean, they're going to get pressure with their front 4 because Terrence Steele's playing like ass. Actually, the Guyton's actually not bad. He'll give up 1 play a game, but Guyton's not doing bad. BB's going to have his hands full. BB's going to have his hands full, and but I'm worried about Terrence Steele. That's who I'm worried about. But we'll see, man. We just can't have any fumble sixes, anything quick. We can't. So go Cowboys, man.
I'd like to see a clean game, healthy game, and not the flags. I think it's just my biggest thing. If we can stay low on the flags and penalties, I think we definitely have a possibility of really having it look like one of those really nice overall games. But they can real quickly get out of the hands if you're putting yourself behind the chains. So. Game time, anything you want to say? Because I think that gives us a little bit about 15 or 20 minutes before your broadcast starts.
I probably won't go on at 8 o'clock, people, maybe 5 after. Just be patient. But I'm going to restart my internet, and we'll see everybody over there, hopefully. So, yes, Troy Daniels, he was activated, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm not going to do a channel member Zoom tonight, everybody, only because of the weather, and Phil's going to join me, and I think it's smarter to do just me and him tonight. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everybody.
All right, man. You guys take care. Let us know who you think's going to win. I mean, that's right. If you get in within the next 30 minutes, maybe, but otherwise you're just going by the score because the game is right there. So nice Thursday Night Football. We'll see you on Gametime's channel. But, guys, I appreciate you coming through. But one thing I do appreciate you not forgetting to do.
Always ring that bell.
Ring that bell. You guys take care.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
Talking prime rib in bed. I'm using a blanket as a napkin. That's fancy. That's fancy.
Real fancy.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
Do you want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think we handled that with dignity. Free candy!
Johnny loves Chachi.